The Coalition is absolutely committed to living within its means. After 6 years of Labor getting every single budget number wrong, enough is enough. Today, the Coalition is announcing the great bulk of its savings to pay for our election promises and to leave the budget in slightly better condition prior to the election. The fact of the matter is, most of the $31 billion of savings that we're announcing, you already know about. The mining tax package has been a disaster for the budget. It was initially expected to raise more than $40 billion, more than what it has raised. The package is leaving the budget $18 billion worse off. Secondly, the carbon tax package as it stands leaves the budget $7.5 billion worse off over the forward estimates. In contrast, the Coalition, with its paid parental leave scheme, together with the offsetting savings to pay for the scheme, leaves the budget slightly better off. Now, the Coalition will accept the savings announced by the government in the updated economic statement released prior to the election. We do accept the savings. We don't like a number of them, but we have to do it to be prudent. The only identifiable saving that we will not accept are the changes to fringe benefits tax for motor vehicles, which we will not proceed with in government. We have gone through a process now for 3 years. We have worked with the Parliamentary Budget Office, which has, as I understand it, more than 40 staff, many of them former Finance and Treasury officials. We have submitted policies to the Parliamentary Budget Office, received them back, gone through the process, and we have submitted them to our independent verification panel, which is made up of 3 eminent Australians. When we release the final figures at the end of the campaign, that verification panel will certify in writing that they believe the numbers to be accurate. So there are no great shocks here. The great shock is that Kevin Rudd is being proven to have made hysterical and unsubstantiated claims about the Coalition. There are no cuts to health and education. There is no increase in the GST. There is no $70 billion black hole. In fact, so much of what we're doing is trying to fix Labor's black hole. But that will take some period of time. What we've done is had a thorough process. We have released costings during the election for our policies where it involves money. We are releasing the great bulk of our savings today, nearly 3/4 of the way through the campaign. No opposition has ever done this. No opposition has ever released the great bulk of its savings 3/4 of the way through the campaign. No one. We're doing it. And we're doing it because we need to re-establish, on behalf of the public service, on behalf of those people that seek to go into office, we're the only ones that can rebuild trust. We're the only ones that can put in place the initiatives that actually help to rebuild the relationship between the community and their elected officials. And we do so because it is the proper way to go about delivering confidence and stability in the economy more broadly and confidence in the budget position specifically. Now I'm going to ask my colleague Andrew Robb to say a few words, and then we'll come to questions and deal with some of your more substantial questions.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few concluding comments again about the process. To date, we have released around 40 policies, and we have on our website now some 500 pages of detail about those policies. Now, by contrast, our opponents, the Labor Party, have released barely 20 policies, and 5 of those are actually press releases. no other detail, just press releases. And secondly, that detail is just 70 pages on their policy announcement section of their website. Now, the key point is that compared to Labor, we've got some 400 pages of comprehensive policy detail. So we have the vast majority of our policies out, and now we have fully costed all those policies. Every one that's out there has got a full costing. As Joe said, it's been through the Parliamentary Budget Office. But now all of those policies out there are fully funded with the detail that we've released today. Now, the process that we've gone through is that we have undertaken, and I've been in and around politics 30 years, this is the most rigorous, the most comprehensive process ever undertaken by an opposition party in the lead up to an election. And there are some 4 key elements to what we've done. Firstly, we've had systematic internal scrutiny. This has gone on for nearly 3 years now. A series of processes. I've had the Policy Committee. I've fed things through to the Expenditure Review Committee, which Joe chairs. This has been an iterative process. We've gone backwards and forwards for some 3 years. A very systematic internal process of scrutiny. Secondly, we've had extensive contact with stakeholders. All of our front bench have been there for the whole 3 years, and their feedback from stakeholders, any questions we have, they know who to go to, how to get the information. Again, it has been a very rigorous process. The third thing, and very importantly, is the Parliamentary Budget Office. Now, this organisation, remember, it was established by this government. This government appointed the head of the Parliamentary Budget Office. It's an independent, intended to be independent Parliamentary Budget Office, a costing organisation. They appointed the head, a former senior finance official, and as Joe said, there's some 40 professionals, many of them out of Treasury and Finance. So we have gone with hundreds of policies to the Parliamentary Budget Office and then have submitted those policies to our panel of review. 3 of the most eminent Australians, expert in public policy and public finance, right? You've got Jeff Carmody, who was a senior Treasury official, who then went and was principal of Access Economics, one of our, if not our premier independent economic organisation in the country for 20 years. And following that, he's done, or including that, he's done the costings for at least 5 campaigns, including both sides of politics. He did it for us in 1996. He did it again for Kim Beazley in 2001, and several other campaigns. Len Scanlon, who is the former Queensland Auditor General, worked with both sides of politics. And finally, Peter Shergold, who's a former Secretary of the Department of Prime Minister in Cabinet, now the Chancellor of Western Sydney University. And all of these people, their credentials, I think, are second to none. Finally, I'd say to you that the contrast has never been greater. We are being far more open and transparent about our policies and our funding than our opponents, without a doubt. And as a consequence, the onus is now squarely on the Labor Party to release how they will fund the programs that they have announced, especially given the fact that we're seeing now, week in, week out, the debt is continuing to rise by $1.5 billion. It's now at $270 billion. It's going up each and every week since Kevin Rudd's been in office by $1.5 billion. And we've got to the point where this government is borrowing to pay the interest on the debt. Now, you say to any family, you know, you're at a point where you're borrowing to pay the interest on your mortgage and you've got a problem. You've got a problem. So Labor must come clean, how they'll fund their promises, and not wait until the day before the election, as they have done both in 2010 and in 2007. Thanks.